here, and as he's going through, he's on, let's say, Firestone Boulevard right now at Hooper. Especially, you can see him on the phone. He looks like he's got his left arm tattooed. It looks like he's maybe wearing someone just threw something in the vehicle. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it looked like something hit the vehicle and kind of exploded. You almost saw the suspect duck a little bit, like it looks like it hit him. So that means, the people are out watching this are starting to throw stuff at him, and that's never a good thing either, trying to get involved in this pursuit. But you can see the suspect driving the car appeared to be male Hispanic. He had some kind of a dark blue jersey shirt on, maybe a soccer jersey. His left arm is tattooed up. For identification purposes, if the suspect does run, they have a better idea what he may look like as they continue. But definitely looked like he had a shirt on that had some kind of jersey here. As we continue on Firestone Boulevard, approaching Compton, it looks like he's going to make a decision here at Compton Boulevard, and he's going to continue eastbound on Firestone. He is going eastbound. Again, we're talking about interrupting our programming because this is a murder suspect police pursuit. It's happening right now. It's going in the city of Compton, but Air 7 HD and SkyMap 7 and Extreme Vision overhead as we get all the details on this murder suspect taking place. LAPD is in pursuit. But JT, you're talking about LA County Sheriff is also sort of monitoring the situation if this suspect goes into their jurisdiction, or is there any sort of protocol that you would know of that if they go in and out? Because it seems like this suspect's weaving back and forth, and we do know that jurisdictions sort of are quite important when it comes to law enforcement. Well, and in this situation, we got a really good look at the suspect there with Extreme Vision. You could see him. But in this situation, this is an LAPD warrant for murder. They're going to stay with that pursuit. Unless we hear differently, we'll let you know. But right now, he has transitioned in and out of the Sheriff's Department jurisdiction. But this is an LAPD handle, which means if they want to hand that over to the Sheriff's Department or request the Sheriff's Department to handle over, they will do that. But more than likely, they're going to stay with it. Sheriffs right now are just assisting LAPD with the pursuit, making sure that when they manage cross-traffic for them, helping them however they need. It's very possible, too, if the suspect gets out of that vehicle and bails, especially in the sheriff's area. It may be an area the sheriffs are more familiar with, so they can use the unit to help contain that suspect within a perimeter or within a neighborhood to try to get him into custody. So that's always a good idea. You can be assured that LAPD is also communicating with the Sheriff's Department, both on the ground and in the air with Air Support Division helicopters, and LAPD airship is overhead as well. Absolutely. And what about, would you say, I'm somewhat surprised that the suspect has not taken to the highway, but I don't see any freeway quite nearby. But don't you notice many times we see them actually pop on and pop off the freeway just to get some good speed, thinking they're going to be able to get away? Yeah, for a short time early on in this pursuit, he did jump on that 105 freeway, although it was for a very short time here as he's on Firestone crossing Alameda. It looks like he made that southbound turn onto Alameda from Firestone here as we're back in the Florence Graham area, and that's the sheriff's area. But he did jump on that 105 temporarily, just for a few minutes, and then got back off. And he's basically been in this area. He was in the Linwood area. He jumped off at Long Beach Boulevard. That 105 came northbound on Long Beach near St. Francis Medical Center, and then worked his way back in this area. Now he's working his way back into that Linwood area that we had him in earlier as he's going here southbound on Alameda. Yeah, and you can see there's a westbound turn. Yep, there he goes. Takes a right there. But you can see it really. This is what really helps with this new technology that we have in Air 7 HD with that Sky Map and Extreme Vision. SkyMap 7 shows exactly where this is happening, exactly how fast he's going. You can see he's going 40 miles an hour. So, and you do see that the law enforcement, the LAPD, hasn't done any kind of pit maneuver or any kind of maneuvers to try to get this person to stop. Yeah, they have not used the pit maneuver, as we've seen them try to use the spike strip a couple of times, but we have not seen them put those officers close enough to engage him in a pursuit intervention technique or a pit maneuver here. As he's westbound on 92nd now, he's going to make that turn on Fur Avenue, northbound here in the Florence Graham area. We haven't seen that, and that may be because the information the LAPD has, he may be armed. And if they do that, they don't necessarily want to put those officers directly abeam him, and that includes getting their vehicles very close to that suspect vehicle, disengaging the rear end of that vehicle, spinning them out, and then blocking them in. Well, that obviously puts officers in extreme danger, being in a very close proximity to a possibly armed suspect here as it continues northbound on First Street, crossing 88th Street in the Florence Graham area. Absolutely. Well, pretty soon we're going to start seeing a little bit more movement in these neighborhoods just because school gets out. It starts, the kindergartners and first graders, they all start getting out somewhat around the 2 o'clock hour, so the parents need to get into place. So hopefully if someone's watching, they know not to kind of stay put for a little bit if this is their neighborhood. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing you don't want to do is if he's in certain areas where schools are letting out, it's very possible the schools may not may decide to keep the children in the school, maybe put a modified lockdown type. But that would mean that the suspect would have to stay in that very close proximity to that school for some period of time. We've seen that before, but we haven't seen that in this pursuit. He's generally in the same area, but doing very wide loops of the area as he continues here eastbound on Florence, coming up on Juniper here, again, the Florence-Graham area. But we have seen that before. That call has not been made yet, and it's always important, too, if you're going to pick up your children in this area, be very cognizant of where this pursuit is at. If you want to listen to ABC7 on your phone, don't watch it, but you can listen to it by downloading the app on ABC7. Our app on both Android and iOS, and you can actually listen to the pursuit to keep you updated on where this pursuit is. Look at that, right through the middle of traffic. At least slowing down for cross traffic. That lets him know he's a little bit cognizant of the danger of going through that intersection without slowing down. So he's taking some risk there, but not what we've seen before in some of these crazy pursuits where these suspects just blow right through those intersections without even looking or slowing down. But use that app to keep you updated on where this pursuit is, and by all means, keep your children, keep your loved ones inside until this thing terminates, especially if it's going through your neighborhood.
Especially. JT, I can't tell you how many times I've used that app not thinking it was going to work, and I have listened to it many times when I've been driving around and a pursuit starts to happen, and I wonder if me or my children are going to be possibly in harm's way, or if I'm coming to work and I know that there's a pursuit happening, I'll just kind of listen to it. So it is a really great app, and it really does help you. And again, it just becomes kind of dicey when the suspect stays on surface streets this whole time and kind of keeps doing this very wide loop around the same area. And you know that if they're sort of doing this wide loop, they may end up looping back to areas where there are schools and where parents are walking or trying to get their children. So it just makes it for a much more tense situation. But you do see some cars on the street, and the suspect seems to be trying to avoid getting into any more of a collision.
Yeah, absolutely. He seems to be taking some safety and care, but again, he's still very dangerous situation. Again, murder suspect on the run from police, and right now he's driving fine, but that remains to be seen. We've seen that in certain situations where the demeanor of the driver will change on a dime. So we're going southbound Long Beach Boulevard here. We've moved into Southgate area. Now we're in a different jurisdiction. The Sheriff's Department, LAPD, still has the handle on this. There is an incident commander or supervisor in this pursuit that's in charge of this pursuit, calling the pursuit, constantly weighing the need to get the suspect in custody against the way of the safety of the public at large. So right now there's a supervisor, and that's a heavy responsibility for him. And what he's doing right now, he's monitoring speed, he's monitoring their activity. He's actually got those officers backed off a little bit, deciding where and when they want to use any type of pursuit intervention technique or tactic that we've seen deployed. And right now that's been limited to the spike strip here as we're in the Southgate area, southbound Long Beach Boulevard, approaching Nebraska Avenue.
Absolutely, JT. It must be incredibly stressful because we think about these pursuits that happen and people become possible victims of being involved in a car crash. We've seen that before. We certainly don't want to see anyone get hurt. But again, using caution, going through this intersection right there on Tweedy Boulevard. We're in Linwood now. Again, you can see that because if you look at the bottom left-hand part of your screen, Sky Map 7 illuminates where the person is. So it's Long Beach Boulevard, and you can see it's in the city of Linwood. But again, we're watching the suspect not driving incredibly quickly, not making any major drastic moves. Why people stand in the road when they see this, because you can certainly hear all the law enforcement. But again, now they're making a left on, it looks like Michigan Avenue, because of Sky Map 7 kind of shows you exactly. And you see the LAPD right there in pursuit, but not right on his tail. I don't know why these suspects don't think to pull over, because they see everybody watching them, but
well, the officer safety factor on this, Colleen, sorry to interrupt, is they're able to do that, and that's solely because of the air support overhead. That is the main goal of the officers involved with Air Support Division, both the Sheriff's Aero Bureau and LAPD Air Support Division, is to be able, you saw that almost little head-on there as you kind of had a last second get out of the way of that car here on Michigan, moving on to Elizabeth Avenue here in Southgate. But that is their job, to be able to keep eyes on that suspect. They're actually broadcasting the position of the pursuit, very like what I'm doing with you right now. broadcasting the direction, broadcasting the speed, broadcasting the cross streets. So they have the ability to back off a little bit. They possibly, like I mentioned before, know more information about the suspect, know more information about the crime and the weapon used in this reported or alleged murder here the suspect's involved with. So keeping that distance here, he's not going to get away. He's not going to get away from the helicopter, not going to get away from the radio. So time is on the side of the officers, and his driving, the suspect driving right now, is dangerous but manageable, if you will. So they're going to continue to stay in pursuit. They're not going to go into tracking mode, more than likely because of the nature of the crime. They don't want to go into tracking mode, and God forbid the suspect carjack another person if he is armed.
Yeah, JT, that is the big worry, because law enforcement need to make sure that nobody really gets hurt, and we don't know if there's a weapon inside that vehicle, but we have seen that the suspect has had their window down, and earlier we did see him lean forward, get a good look outside the car, so we had a good idea. But look at, you can see Sky Map 7 right here, and you can see turning left on to Long Beach Boulevard, and there's going to be road construction, so hopefully road crews, they're going to be watching this area if they are out, in fact, doing work. But you can see some work happening, at least right there. But again, the suspect going 24 miles an hour. They're in Linwood, and we do know this is a murder suspect who LAPD is trying to take into custody. No exact word on where this murder may have taken place or when exactly, but this was a warrant out for this person's arrest. So they're just weaving in and out of this area, JT, and sort of minding the area in regards to not being really erratic or driving at really high speeds. But this is always a scary part. When they hit another road, do they just go straight out and possibly hurt someone?
Yeah, I mean, and so far he has showed the propensity to go into opposite lanes of traffic. Luckily, on these side streets, he's turning on Barlow. He's back onto what I believe maybe Norton here. We'll take a look here, but his speeds have been very, very slow and getting slower here as he comes on Norton Boulevard here in the city of Linwood. So that is good news. Again, we've seen him using his phone quite a bit. Maybe that's the reason he's driving a little bit slower and enabling him to text here. We're on State Street, and it looks like we're making an eastbound turn from State Street. And well, now we're going in the opposite direction traffic on State through what looks like a very large roundabout here in the city of Linwood. If people are familiar with Carnation Park, I believe, here in the big roundabout in the city of Linwood, one of the few in the LA County that we have, but that's a very large one here. Now he's at least back in the right lanes of traffic going the right direction here as he's crossing Imperial Highway. Ooh, slows down here. He's went right through that red in the intersection, at least slow enough for oncoming traffic to see him coming, like that semi-truck right there, and slow down and avoid hitting him. All
right, well, JT, joining me now is Ellen Leyva to join us in on this pursuit. But again, the suspect is not really taking drastic moves, Ellen. They're just driving. We know they're a murder suspect wanted from the LAPD, but again, we noticed that they're not driving really erratically. They're just kind of minding the rules of the road and being cautious when they're going into the intersections.
And perhaps it's indicative that he's thinking about maybe giving himself up, because he's not really fleeing very quickly, and well, maybe he's not desperate to get away, but we do know he's a murder suspect. So we know he's
vehicle stopped here, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt. Colleen and Ellen stopped right in Imperial Highway at Long Beach Boulevard. Throws the keys out. That's a good sign. Hands are up. So this looks like we're going to go into what's called a high-risk felony stop. Maybe made the phone calls he needed to make and made the notifications he needed to make. He knows the routine. Threw out those keys. Hands are up in sight. Right now you can see he's talking to officers. Officers are giving him commands on the PA system. The good news is that his hands are in sight. That's what they want to see there. You can see LAPD Southeast Division's primary in this pursuit have at least 4 or 5 officers. They have shotguns. They have less lethal and munitions and urban police rifles trained on this murder suspect. We're going to go back in a little tighter so we can watch the suspect's actions here. We're going to turn Sky Map off because the pursuit stopped. You can see the suspect's out with that blue shirt with the writing on it. It wasn't a jersey, but having him turn around, hands behind his head, they may have him lift his shirt right now to show his waistband. Usually they'll do that to make sure he's got no weapons in his waistband. You can see the keys on the ground next to the car. Suspect knew exactly what to do. Throw the keys out. He knows the routine. Haven't seen them. Well, maybe he's walking away from the keys. We're going to clear this light post here as they're moving away from the car. At this point, what we may see is he's going to come down to his knees. They're going to ask him to lay down. They're going to ask him to put his arms out at his side, put his legs out, bury his heels. You'll see his legs spread next, bury his heels. And then they're going to have him turn his head in one direction away from the officers as they approach. They're going to take that suspect into custody, and then you'll see all those officers off to the left-hand side near that shop. They're going to get the team together to clear the car. Well, they're going to clear the car first. Good call. Make sure there's no suspects. Check that trunk. Check the back seat. Make sure there's no additional suspects in the car. Giving the code 4 up, which means that it is clear. Now the arrest team is in place. They've got 4 or 5 officers, including the officers that cleared the car, not taking any chances with this murder suspect, and they're going to gently take the suspect into custody, put the knee in the back of the shoulder blade there, control that right arm, get him cuffed up, take that free arm, get him cuffed up while the other 4 officers are covering him, and suspect in custody. So very, very luckily this ended without any injuries that we know of, any collisions that we know of. Suspect in custody. He may be just buying us time during that pursuit, making phone calls, talking to family members, knowing that he was going to be going to jail for the day. But this is really good news. The suspect is in custody. Colleen and Ellen, we're going to throw it back to you.